Cedar sign on. Shifty work into the box. And across, it's in! Oh, it's LeRoux! It's a dream return!
Welcome to Casual FC, an Angel City preview pod. I'm your host, Angela Morales, with my ever-technological super editor co-host, Mario Salazar.
Yeah.
Nothing like making up a word just for the intro. Well, today, before we get started, I am super stoked to introduce our special guest. We have internet personality, WOSO casual extraordinaire.
Podcast host.
I don't know.
Sketch artist.
Like, Mom of the Year, M. Woods,
No.
who you probably recognize from from TikTok, Instagram, all over the place at this point. So welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, I feel like all those labels are far too generous. Like, yeah, they're far too generous. Yeah, I get on the internet and do silly things is basically it.
I mean, don't we all?
Yeah.
Yes, right.
But you tend to do them better than we can. So
or better than a lot of people. Some people try, but you hit the nail on the head. You found your lane real quick.
Thank you. It's really my favorite hobby I've ever done.
I love it. I know it's a ton of work, but dang, you're good at it.
I will say that, like, of course, Angela, being who she is, completely knew about you beforehand, and then me getting into the whole WOSO universe as we started doing this, I was like seeing things on social, and then of course you popped up, and then I was like, oh my god, this is hilarious, and I'm like sending it to her, and she's like, yeah, that's M. So
yeah, I was like, yeah, I saw that a week ago, like just
which is like what my wife tells me whenever I send her something. She's like, yeah, I saw that a week ago. I'm like, oh,
my entire every social media feed is literally just like women's sports, gluten-free recipes, some politics, and like my friends, and that's it.
Yes.
I've really just narrowed it down. It's mostly
that's the
sports.
dream. That's the dream.
Yeah.
My algorithm desperately wants me to be a teacher, which I'm not. I don't know why. They think I'm a teacher, but I am not.
So you are in Ohio, affiliated with the Midwest?
Yes, I rep the Midwest very hard. Yeah, I'm born and raised in Ohio, and now I live in Northeast Ohio, like near Akron. And, went to college in Ohio and have really never lived anywhere else, which might be sad. Like, I've visited places, I've traveled, but I really enjoy it here, and I think it's a wonderful place to live.
I was born and raised in LA and haven't left LA.
We've both never left, so.
But LA sounds impressive. You're like, oh, you live in LA. That sounds impressive. There's so much there.
A lot of people talk a lot of smack about Ohio, and like, I've been there enough times now to say like I kind of get it, but also there's a lot of cool stuff. There's like decent, and you're close enough to big major cities. Like, you're close enough to Chicago, close enough to like Pittsburgh and Philly, close enough to Indianapolis that like nothing is too far out of like reach. I feel like you could drive for a couple hours and be out of the state. You drive for a couple hours here and you're still in California.
Well, maybe even in LA for the traffic.
Yeah.
Like, no, I do think it is pretty centrally located. Like, I never feel like I can't make a flight somewhere or drive somewhere. And I feel like there's always stuff to do. I'm only like 45 minutes south of Cleveland. So, we get, comedians tour and shows tour.
Yeah.
Like, we get to see stuff, but I'm sure it's a little bit different being like the center of the entertainment world in LA, but we get some stuff too.
I just posted up one of those, reposted one of the NWSL. It's like, you should be a fan of, insert team, and then they had that little meme thing that they were doing, and like I annotated the Angel City one.
Oh yeah.
I was like, yeah, we've got the best SGs ever, and then listed all of them. And then it said like, one of them said like celebrity sightings, and I'm like, yeah, they're
Hollywood,
and I'm like, woo, Hollywood. Then in like parentheses it said, but don't go to Hollywood. It's actually kind of
No,
kind of
don't go
sketch.
there.
And you won't see anybody famous in Hollywood. Like, you got to go elsewhere.
Yep.
Yeah. Like to an Angel City game. I feel like you guys definitely have all
There
the
you go.
Star-studded.
Yes.
It's the place to be seen at times, yes.
So are you officially a Chicago Red Stars fan,
Yeah,
or is that just like, how did you decide?
So at the time I got into the NWSL, my sister, I have one sister, and she was living in Chicago. And so I was like, oh, if I'm going to get to one of these places, one of these teams, then that's going to be the easiest one because I could like maybe stay with her and catch a game. So I was like, Chicago's my team. And I loved Alyssa Naeher, and I loved Julie Ertz was with them at the time. And
who's pregnant? Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, she posted today because she did media for Sheba, and she's just probably 6 months pregnant, maybe 4 or 5, depending on. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's news.
That's news, but very makes sense.
That's good. Yeah,
makes sense. Good for her.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like she wanted that. So Chicago has kind of just, they're my team for now on. And I always say like Angel City is my second team. Yeah. And it literally goes back to the home. I don't know, were you guys at the home opener?
Yes, yeah.
The magic of the home opener with like Brittany Howard singing and the fireworks. I was like,
I just got goosebumps about it again.
Like, it was such an amazing moment that I was just enamored with Angel City. And I still love the spirit of the team, and like Allie Wright. Like, there's so many personalities and players that I just really love on Angel City. So I like to say they're my secondary team.
I'm down for it. I mean, we're only slightly biased here.
I know.
But okay. So I have this question here. You can answer it or you can abstain if you'd like. But we spoke to, and I think I probably messaged you, or at least messaged like you and Allie about our interview that we did with Elizabeth, who also in Cleveland, and she does amazing just women's sports stories and athlete interviews and all of that stuff.
She's the best.
When we talked to her, we were talking about a thing she recently did with Cleveland soccer, and like the bid and everything like that, and like doing this watch party. And I recently heard your episode, like interviewing the president?
Michael. Yeah, he's like one of the would be co-owners, I guess. Michael Murphy. Yeah,
okay. And like we're rooting for it. I mean, it'd be fun. So if Cleveland comes, where's that gonna have to slot in?
They would slot in at the top for sure. And that sounds, it's just like they're your team. And I never really got that until I started like really kind of getting invested with the bid for the NWSL team. And like that feeling, like my dad is a Cleveland Browns fan, and like the Browns are awful, and they've been awful for decades, but he loves the Browns and like the Guardians. And it started to finally click, like, oh, I get what you're saying now. Like, if it's your team, it's your community, they rep your city, it just feels different. And I don't know if you feel that way with Angel City, you know? It just is a different thing. Like,
and
for
there's so many. Before the expansion to LA, so many folks on the West Coast were like Royals fans for like a hot second, or Portland fans, because we didn't have the teams here. And then like Eva, my fiance, was just like, oh no, she was a Reign/Portland, kind of depended on the year, like which way she was swaying. But it was like, and you know, she's from New Jersey, and even still, she's like, Gotham pretends they're from New York. They're from New Jersey. Like, don't, no.
Well, when they rebranded, they did flip it. So it is New Jersey, New York, Gotham.
Yeah, but they don't claim it. Like, you know, and she's like, even once Angel City happened and we were at that first home opener, she looked at me and she goes, this is my team. Like, this is different. It's not like, oh yeah, I love this team, they're great, but this is like where I live. This is where I've created my life. Like, this is my team. And like, I understood it, but I've always had teams, you know, like I've said it a bunch on here, but like I was at opening day for the WNBA. I've been to Lakers games. I've been to, tennis tournaments. I've been to all these different things here, but Angel City just was different. And I'm so excited, and I hope Cleveland gets a bit. If not this year, then like the next announcement, like something, to go along with Boston.
I am allowing my hopes to get so high, so dangerously high, that like I don't even want to temper. Like, I am believing that we are going to get a team, and I'll just have to be crushed if we don't. That's the only way.
It's just whether or not it's going to happen this next announcement or like the next one following that.
Yeah, I'm going to be a part of it. Like when it happens, is how I feel.
That's awesome. I'm so excited for you.
Thank
Do you think you'll keep like dual citizenship between Chicago and Cleveland, or just be like later days and just be a homer?
See, I feel like the Midwest teams were so awful last year that like
there were some big struggles.
Oh my gosh, I started thinking of them as a unit, and so like we like even like racing has a special place in my heart, Kansas City. So I think of us as like we're a unit. And so I am going to like root for them for whatever. I want them to do well. Because I know that some of the, it's sometimes hard to recruit players to these places in the middle of the country. And so I just hope that they can build successful clubs. So I'll always rep the Midwest for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah. That makes me so happy. Like I love when people like jump ship when their home team like becomes a team, but I also love it when it's like you still have the allegiance where you had it before, just even a little bit, because it's like, no, you're the ones who raised me. But this is where I'm at now.
I will say because the NWSL is so relatively young, right? You encounter lots of fans that are like Eva was, a Seattle multi-team like you actually become a little bit more invested in the players, and so you start following the players around rather than the team. But once you get that home team, like it just changes. Like when you can call it your home team, then
it's different.
All rules are different.
So I'm official. I mean, once Elizabeth told us that there was a campaign for a Cleveland team, I was like, oh, for sure, this needs to happen. And now I'm just like, like banging down doors from LA, like, do it.
Yes. I heard we're going to know in November. I'm sure that everybody, like higher powers, will know sooner, but I think it's going to get announced in November.
Yeah. That's like
fingers crossed.
7 months too far away.
Far away. Yeah, it's awful.
How do you feel that being really known as this kind of like social media personality with within the WOSO community, how has it allowed you to open up about doing the thing for the thing that you've been growing to love?
Wait, clarify what you mean. Give me some more clarifiers.
Like, because you said you were getting into like, and you mentioned it a lot that you're like getting to know the sport, getting to know the players, getting to know like you didn't grow up like as a kid, loving soccer. It was a more recent thing. So there's ingesting the content, right? Like us watching you.
Yeah.
And then there's you creating it because you found such a passion for it. And how do you think that has like lit that fire or like really helped you go all in on it?
It's really hard to start create. I mean, you guys decided to do this podcast in a couple hours, it sounds like, which is crazy. Like it takes me a long time to just start something. Like I'll think about it for months before I actually do something. And like I don't know if you experience this, but like I am very nervous about like I remember like when I first started posting videos, I was literally gritting my teeth, like pushing the post button.
Yeah.
And like just stomach in knots, but and just something I knew I wanted to do. And then that once you start being involved in that community, it is like we have such an addicting community and such a cool community that they're so funny. They're so like creative. It is everything I've ever wanted. Like it is even the people at the highest level, like the Darian Jenkins, the people who I think are like the quote unquote professionals are still funny and creative and just very almost accessible in a way that they build community. And so I'm just like happy to be a part of that, just a minimal part of that.
Yeah, Mario, before you jumped on, we were talking about like how cool it is that we still get like player interaction, how fun everybody is. Like everyone in like women's sports online community, like active participants, not the sprinkling on that nobody wants, but like those of us who are in it to like push the game, further the game, talk about it. It's just a party. It feels like an Angel City game on my Twitter thread 85% of the time. Sometimes I get stuff I don't want and I'm just like, what are you? But like, especially this weekend, this weekend was chef's kiss good on the internet.
My husband is like, how can you be on Twitter? I was like, my Twitter is amazing. Like I follow the best people. I get recommended the best people. Like I rarely get trolls and stuff like that. Like it's
the plus side. It's the good side of it that should be there and should be boosted. But you know,
it's like now. The best version of what it could be is probably like WOSO Twitter, and that's kind of like it feels like such an attack when not outsiders, but like when somebody tries to threaten that. It feels personal. Like even if it's not directed at me, it feels personal.
I saw something this weekend in regards to the Final Four that was like, can we start gatekeeping again? Because those people were trying to influence. It was like, no, we don't do that here. We don't. Like, do I have a favorite team? Yes. Do I have favorite players? Absolutely. Do I have favorite coaches? Yes. But I respect everyone in this game because they're doing something at such a high level that 90% of people can't do. And it's so important to keep building that.
I think something I heard this weekend, they were talking about, and now I forget, I think it was Kelsey Plum said this, on the super Diana Taurasi. Okay. And I think we should take it over. I think it is perfect for women's soccer Twitter. That, you know, how rookies in the WNBA get their welcome to the league, like elbows in the gut, like hard fouls kind of thing.
Well, like, all rookies get it across all sports. It's just been a topic of conversation, mostly because of Diana Taurasi, which I could have a whole podcast about the history of the WNBA. That's for a different day.
That's a new project.
The next
that's another
podcast.
project.
That's the next one. But like Kelsey Plum said, well, actually, because we're getting so many new fans, like fans are going to start having these moments. So they're going to get welcome to the league moments where these more seasoned fans are going to kind of like check them and put them in their place. And
I'll carry that torch.
Yeah, because like we have to protect this environment. It's so precious. Like we have to.
Yeah. And like what's happening in women's basketball right now, like the Caitlin Clark effect, like she's so great, but like we've had great players. This isn't new. And it's the same thing in WOSO. These like the immensity of talent didn't just start. It's been there for generations. We've known, but like the world outside of the US is known. The US is just finally starting to catch up. And I'm like, please protect this environment because it's so special and so great and so much fun. Like there's so much community. And even like online, we met officially tonight via this recording, but like I knew I had you in my back pocket, like as a friend across the country. If I was like, oh my God, did you watch this game? I could say something because you probably did watch it.
It's so weird. That is like the weirdest thing about, you know, having friends. Like people will have like names that aren't their names on social media. And I'm almost like, should I message them and ask their real name? Like we talk almost every day.
Yep. Yeah, this is like the epitome of millennial like online friendships is sports communities, and it's my favorite.
Well, it comes from like our, you know, AOL screen names that we needed to like make something up because like so I will say that my my social media handles are all just my name. Like I'm not hiding behind anything. So it's just Mario. So, you know, so like when
That's
I'm talking
good.
to someone I've met, you know, when I've met like and I've mentioned this to Angela before, but like, you know, it's kind of funny the like the level of celebrity you put on people, especially because you don't know them personally, right? Mm-hmm. And so like when you finally get to meet someone, or when someone responds to you, you kind of like, you freak out a little bit. You're like, oh my God, like I kid you not, the face that Angela gave me when I told her like, hey, I messaged M and
This is so embarrassing.
well, okay, the first one where I was like, hey, I M liked one of our videos. She's like, oh my God. And then when I was like, I messaged M about doing the podcast and she's in for it, she had the best reaction to everything.
On the metro, going to see Eva, like I was having a really bad day, and I'm like instantly, and it is like casual FC lore that I cry on it like at least 10 seconds in one episode, every episode. I'm always in tears about something. And I was like, Mario, you're not supposed to make me cry when we're not recording. Like, what's wrong with you? Because I also have like a motto that I got from TikTok, because of course I did, because that's my life right now. But it's like, shoot your shot, because if you aren't, it's the same thing as not doing anything. So like, why not? And then I got him to start doing it, and now we're here. Yay!
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well,
yeah.
Like the reason I started, you know, I don't know if you guys know this, I'm pretty sure you do. Like I'm a stay-at-home parent, and like COVID was very hard for me, and I had my kids young, and so like a lot of my friends didn't have kids at the time. They were working, so it was very lonely. And so one of my biggest things is like I've been on the internet basically to make friends. Yeah. And like I am desperate to make friends like you guys, like just very cool people. Like I'm so excited that you guys asked me to do this, because like you guys are the type of people I want to talk to.
Yeah, but that's the great thing about the internet, is that you find your people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I have one more question before we get like back into like the normal episode. But
okay.
And I haven't gone far back enough to figure this out on my own. But there's this kind of running joke about you being yelled at by a player.
Yeah.
Would you care to elaborate?
Okay. So, the player in question is LeRoux.
Oh.
So here's what happened. We were talking on our podcast. We do a podcast called Across the Pond on NWSL. And I had made a comment basically when she was signed. It was a little clunky that, you know, she was signed and then put out a post that was like, she was surprised by it. You know, it was like a conflicting message. And I said so on the podcast. And then our editor, James, took that clip, put it on Instagram, and tagged her.
No.
And then we got a very long comment basically saying how I should have asked her how she felt about it. And I was like, but you wrote how you felt about it already. I was just taking what you wrote. And so I got yelled at by Alex LeRoux on Instagram. And that is forever. Like, I have never been more panicked when I started reading that comment. I was like, oh no. You should see. I wish I had the screenshots texting my co-host, Allie, who was completely chill. She was like, it's great that she looked at it. It's great that she watched it. And I was like, are you kidding? Are you reading the same things that I am reading?
Are you the one that got clipped?
Same. Yeah, that's how Mario and I react to things. Like, I'm the one that's like, do you see this? Are you watching this? Do you like? I'm freaking out. He's like, yeah, but like, it's cool. And I'm like, no, I'm freaking out. Yeah.
Or when we got our first troll, I was like, okay, let's not react. Let's not answer it. Let's just let it go and delete it. It's not. It's fine.
We both screenshot the comment and then he deleted it. So we have it for posterity, but it doesn't exist on the internet anymore.
Yeah, I feel like you have to do that. I think I took a picture of the first hater comment I got, and I was like, oh, this is kind of
It's
good.
almost like it's almost like a badge of honor, right? Like
yeah.
your spread has reached far enough, or your thing has reached a person that like it got shoved in their For You page, and then you're just like, well, something pushed this to your page, so there you go.
Yeah. So I thank goodness for like people like Mario and Allie who are like very calm, because like I am also a crier and a panicker. Like,
Yep.
Yeah. So I've learned to be a little bit more careful, and then to maybe James won't tag people anymore that shouldn't be tagged.
Yeah, there needs to be a chain of command, or a quality control of like when things go out.
So
like, do you want me to tag them? Yes or no? It's like, no.
Yeah, James is like the nicest person, just an absolute gem of a person. And so he would never think that this is how it would have turned out. But there you have it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
it's one of those, you're like, all right, we did it. Cool. And now you get to just do cool stuff. Yeah, you live to tell the tale.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I know the backstory now.
Of all people. So anytime, like, I can't even, if she comes on the TV, like, I can't look. Because I just get knots in my stomach. I'm like, oh gosh.
You're like, she can actually see me.
She's gonna know that you're watching. Like, I completely understand. Yeah. So quickly, because I feel like you and I could talk about this for hours, and it's already late for you. How was your Final Four weekend?
Since you were there.
Yes. Final Four in Cleveland. It was amazing. I volunteered 2 days just with the Cleveland Sports Commission, had a bunch of volunteers, and I wore the world's ugliest polo.
As you do. I feel like when you're volunteering for things, it has to be the ugliest shirt. Yellow, orange, neon green.
Didn't you say there was
always
a bucket
orange.
hat too?
There's a bucket hat that is orange and blue.
I'm so sorry.
There were options, you could wear it bucket style. There were snaps, so like a little Australian look. You could do one snap up, one snap down. Many looks.
Did you have like middle school flashbacks of, oh God, I've lived through this bucket hat phase already? Like, or just, I can't get down with the bucket hats.
This was my first ever bucket hat.
Oh, wow. You are so lucky.
I don't know how I missed it. Nobody bought me a bucket hat, and I didn't buy myself a bucket hat, but now it is my husband's. He's very proud to golf in it, apparently. He's excited.
That's good.
Yeah, but the Final Four weekend was just everything I wanted it to be. I could drive up there, I got to volunteer. I went to the Super Saturday practice, which was a free event.
Yeah.
Got to see both teams. My daughter got a picture with Dawn Staley, and I cried as she's getting this picture. There's tears streaming down my face. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, that's
she's
amazing.
10. And I was like, Julian, you might not understand, but like, she's one of the best coaches in the world that you just met. And
one of the best players in the world,
one of the
coaches, just people. Oh,
and the world she is growing up in is just so far. This generation of kids for women's sports, it is a different world that they're growing up in.
Yeah.
And then after that, I went to Together, hosted a podcast recording with Sue Bird.
You got to be there?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Allie was super busy. She has a coffee shop and she had events to go to, so she gave me her tickets. So I was like within 10 feet of Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe, and Chinea Gumuke was there.
Oh,
Drea.
So good.
It was just
Elle was there.
Everything.
Elle Duncan. Yeah.
Elle Duncan.
And M. Woods was there.
I was in the corner, yes. Just furiously peeking around people's bodies to try and get a look. But it was, Cheryl Miller I walked by doing autograph signings, and it was just a surreal moment to be around basically all these legends, and you're just existing and breathing the same air. And it was just a great weekend.
That's so good. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to the WNBA All-Star game or All-Star weekend again this year, because I went to Vegas last year. It was 125. It was awful, but it was fun, but the weather was awful. So this year we get to go to Phoenix in July. So it's going to be the same, but less people. Like, it's not the Strip. But I'm so excited. It's just I can't wait for the NWSL to have like a skills challenge weekend or some kind of like all-star. They really need to, because it would just be so great. Even if it's during like championship weekend or something like that. Do multi-day events, because it's just going to bring in more people.
Yeah.
I think it was Taylor, I forget her last name, from the Equalizer. She was streaming the NWSL like little skills challenge they had championship weekend.
Oh yeah.
And like the hundreds of people that were on the stream, like people want that content. Like that is quality. Like Crystal Dunn in a unaffiliated, like, where's she gonna go?
Like, I'm looking for a job.
Yes, that was amazing.
Great. Yeah.
Like, you can't script TV better than that.
Not at all.
So
Not at all.
we need to see it.
I will say my favorite, if that happens, I do want them to borrow the goalie wars that the MLS brought back this past year.
What is it?
You're gonna have to tell us, because we are women's sports people.
Yes. Okay. So, old school MLS, right? Totally different world. They were like, let's be Merca, and so they had to change a bunch of the rules, right? Like penalties were like hockey shootouts, like, you know, you ran up to the goal from like half. Yeah, it was wild. It was wild. But one of the things that they had during their All-Star weekend, which they brought back this past year, was goalie wars, which is literally the two goalies are set up facing each other like super close, and they're basically just chucking the ball or kicking the ball back and forth to each other, diving to like block it, and then just seeing who can score the most within like a short set period of time. Whoa. And then like just kind of tournament style for the goalies, because, you know, like
they don't get the same
same
credit.
Like, what are they going to do during the All-Star weekend? Like, just get shot on by like all the All-Stars? Like, no. Give them something to do. Imagine Anderson and like Naeher like on a like chucking the ball at each other, or like kicking it and like, you know, doing their drop kick and all that, trying to score on each other and also trying to block each other.
I would love that. Cool. And I think it would be good to see like a little bit more. Goalies are so serious. Like, I would love to see a little bit more, like, let them cut loose, let them have fun.
Mm-hmm. And you have like the most serious of serious keepers.
She is.
Like, she is so stoic. So, like, I mean, she is the epitome of America's brick wall. Like, she is our country's keeper at this point. So, speaking of Mario, can you give us what's coming up, where we're watching it, all that good stuff?
So, back to our regularly scheduled program. This episode, we are catching up with M and the Chicago Red Stars. Angel City will be there on April 13th at SeatGeek Stadium in Bridgeview, Illinois. The match will be at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, because we don't like doing math. Broadcast schedule, it's going to be on Ion TV. So it's because it's a Saturday, it's one of the Ion TV ones. Go check out our Instagram. I listed LA, Ventura County, San Diego County Ion TV stations. You'll find it. If not, go to the website. They have a little thingy to figure it out. Also, iHeartRadio will be passing the game over the radio. So listen to Isaac and Tracy, our favorites. And if you can't watch it on TV, there is an official watch party by Angel City at 6:30. Party starts at 5:30 at Tom's Watch Bar in downtown LA. That's the one right in front of Staples Center. I will not call it the other name. So it's in LA.
Yeah, it's
Live.
at LA Live, right on Fig. So it's definitely easy to get to. You can metro there. You don't have to park, and just hightail it home after the game.
Yes, there you go. And now our Chaos Award.
Oof.
Which I wrote VAR.
Yeah. So we started with this season, like a Chaos Award of the week, like teams, players, a fan base, the weather, depending on what Gotham is doing. Because like last season, there's lightning, thunder, cats and dogs, who knows? Yeah, I think VAR is going to be VAR and stoppage time.
I don't know.
Is this week's shenanigan.
Not to put you on the spot, but do you have one beyond that you felt like was kind of shenanigan-y?
No, I think that one definitely takes the cake. Like, VAR has been absurd.
Yes.
Like,
for how
we
long
don't
they
need to
take.
be adding 10 to 15 minutes of stoppage. Like, it's so bad.
I've
Freya,
said it for the longest time that, like, if you can't, like, I appreciate VAR. I appreciate being like, look, you got this wrong. But if it takes you longer than a few minutes and being like, can I see it slower? Can I see it slower? Can I see it? Like, no, then it's not clear and obvious, and move on. Like, you know?
There was a goal for Angel City that got called back last year because of VAR. And I think it was June's goal in that season opener. And Freya said in the post game, like, if it's not clear and obvious, which is your rule, then what are we doing? And people gave her a hard time. But honestly, when we're adding 11 minutes in the first half, what are we doing?
It's too much. It's too much, especially like the first couple weeks of the season.
Yes.
Those poor legs are probably so tired.
Yeah. You're adding on like another half of a game for stoppage time and just standing around, and it's not good for bodies.
I think Pro even admitted that maybe the one of the two goals that got called back on us was a mistake. I'll have to find it. I didn't want to
not have told me that.
I didn't want to get you riled up, but
it's also very difficult because I have a friend who I went to college with who's a ref. And so, like, I'm like, yay, I'm so happy for her. I'm so proud of her. But at the same time, I'm like, please don't. Please just don't. I don't know you right now.
Yeah. I would never call it a goal back on June Endo just because she's a living angel and should never get cold. Like, no fouls.
No.
We'll never foul.
Exactly. And any foul is like a complete accident and should be immediately forgiven.
Yes. They should apologize to her.
Exactly. Like, we're so sorry we upset you. This was completely unintentional.
We got in your way. I'm sorry. It's not.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Exactly.
Okay. So, yes, VAR was definitely our Chaos Award winner for this past week. And our quick roundabout for the NWSL, we had Chicago tying with Orlando. We had the Wave beating out Seattle. We had the Courage beating out Gotham. We also had Portland and Racing tying. We had Houston beating out Bay, which, you know, we're always going to be happy when Bay loses. So, you know, we want to see great things from them, but we also want to see them lose.
I feel like this is that NorCal SoCal thing where there's a bigger rivalry, I think, between Bay FC and Angel City and Bay FC and San Diego than there is between Angel City and San Diego. I don't know why. It's like that was the rivalry that was like prescribed.
It's because it's also rooted in like other sports. Like there's bigger rivalries in other sports.
That's what I have been told. Allie is from the Bay Area, and she was explaining.
Is she a Giants fan?
Does
she follow baseball?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask. We never talk about baseball, but we're talking about soccer. But she did explain. She was like, "No, LA and Bay, like the Bay Area, do not like each other."
No, and it's not even like, and like for me, I'm a big baseball fan too. So it's like Dodgers and Giants. Like that's been a storied rivalry since both teams were in New York. Like it's as old as the sport, but like there's still a respect because it's such a high level rivalry. And I think that's what's going to happen between Bay FC and Angel City. And then also Bay FC and San Diego, because like in baseball, the Dodgers and the Padres, the San Diego team, like nobody likes each other, but it's not the same like disdain. It's very much like if you were to be a Dodgers fan and marry a Giants fan, it's definitely a house divided, like Duke, North Carolina, like very like
Michigan.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. It's one of those. But like Dodgers in San Diego, it's like, oh, you just make bad decisions. Like it's whatever. That's the short version of California rivalries in sports.
Okay. I got it now. Okay. I've got it.
And then we've got the Spirit beating out Utah, which brings us 2-hour match, which we're not going to talk too much about it. It happened. It's early on in the season, so I'm just going to go quickly through it. We were at Kansas City at CPKC Stadium, which I, at the end of our podcast last time, accidentally said CPK Stadium, and then it made me hungry.
So happy.
It made me hungry when I was re-listening to it. I was like, oh yeah. Okay, so we lost 4-2.
We had 2 goals called back.
2 goals called back. So like, that's why we said VAR was not our friend. I want to say I know a lot of the banter was about Angelina and like her distribution and like what's going on, like what is she doing? Is she like cut out for this? Do we need to bring Didi back? All of that stuff. I'm just gonna say, everybody, hold your horses, calm down. Let's be the reasonable ones here. Angelina is still, and this was a point that I made later on, but I'm gonna bring it up right now. Is Angelina is still ranked number 1 in the entire league for saves per match.
Because she's had so many opportunities.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem.
So she's doing well. There's some other gelling things that we need to work out, right? So yeah. It is what it is. We lost 4-2. Let's move on.
Yep.
I do think I was heartbroken that Rocky's goal was called back. I took that personally.
Thank you. Because I think every Costa Rican took that personally. Every Angel City fan took it personally. I think fans across the board took it personally because it was so egregious.
Hated it. I absolutely hated it.
I don't have words. I was so angry. So angry. But it is what it is. We posted on Instagram to anybody who wanted to let us know how they felt about the game, like post-match little therapy sesh. Alicia messaged and just said, ugh, which that kind of summed it up. Yeah, that was my feelings. Max, our like friend of the pod, just sent a sad face, like with a tear emoji.
And he went old school, like text tear emoji, not like actual like iOS emoji. So
no, it was T9 : apostrophe.
Those are deep feelings.
Like if you're taking the time. But Jordan said it was a nail biter, that their heart almost couldn't take it, but the team looked better in the second half. And that the offside goal though, ... which there's a lot of ... feelings, I think, from a lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of nodding happening, just all of us like, yeah.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so I do the She Plays NWSL Fantasy, and Angelina Anderson is on my team.
Okay.
Ooh.
I have not started her. I have started Shelby Hogan is my other keeper. Should I be switching them?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, this week, I would say yes.
Maybe.
No, I would say no. I would say no this week. Because of Mal. But that's for later. That's when we talk about player breakdown. That's for later.
Okay.
But
okay,
I would say keep what you're doing for this week. Let's test out, see what happens.
It's not like Portland's doing great either. My fantasy team is awful. It's so bad. So
we met because we were I was running the fantasy team for our group. I am the casual of Casual FC here.
Yeah. And yet
I was the one organizing it. And it was because the She Plays had an American version, because I think they were related. But they had like an app. They had like an app in the US, and it was like, it was pretty cool. We were all playing it. There's a limit to teams, so like I had to be commissioner of like 5 different leagues basically, because we had so many people that wanted to play.
So many people in our supporter group playing. It was great.
But I had no clue, so I was just drafting off of like either auto draft because I forgot it was drafting time, or like, that sounds like a cool name.
Yep.
Really?
That's half the reason to play fantasy though.
And then it was totally set it and forget it. It was like Ronco Showtime. Like I set that thing and then never looked at it again. And then maybe I got some points. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, then there's Eva and I, who Eva's driving to rehearsal. She's a drummer. So she's like going to rehearsal. And I'm like, okay, draft starts in 3 minutes. She's like, hold on, let me plug into my car. So she's like, this person. When the app had to shut down, I was in first place. Just gonna put that out there.
That's impressive.
I led the table. I was stressed every week.
It
was crazy.
hard. Because I feel like I'm trying really hard. And my results are not there. So, like, something is going really wrong.
Well, you know what? Afterwards, let's connect. And that way, I'll, like, if you need to make trades.
You can
or
coach me.
Yeah, I got you. I've played a lot of fantasy to the point where I've, like, had to stop because I get too
So this
attached.
is her vicarious fantasy will be through you.
Yeah, I'll be your coach.
Okay, I would like that. I'll start doing really well, and everybody like, wow, what did you do differently? I'll be like, oh, I'm just good now. I don't know.
I just paid attention. That's all. I just read the stats. I was on FOTMob last night. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. So let's see. Who else? Jeff said the errors, bad build up from the back, and the turnovers. There's a lot to clean up, which I don't necessarily disagree with. Katie is frustrated to think that we could have come back and had it 3-3 with a tired emoji. Nick was pretty disappointed. Doesn't understand the offside call. Neither do we.
So
there's just a lot of like everybody being sad.
So I nerded out, as I do, and I actually watched the pro breakdown of that one because they actually did the pro breakdown on that one.
And the Rocky goal?
Yes. Yeah, the offside one, and it was because Fuller was offside. It was because the defender. It was a deflection because of even though they lunged at the ball and hit it with their thigh, it was not in control. Right? It's one of those things of like, you know, like in football, like if they don't actually have control of the ball, it's not an actual possession.
It's a loose ball foul.
Yeah,
got it.
Exactly. So that's kind of what it was, is that because there was no control, even though they went towards it and deflected it, it was a deflection. And the rule states that if they had control of the ball and then it bounced around and then bounced in, then it would have been fine. But the fact that it was a deflection, Fuller was off, and that's how the offside happened. So sheesh. I am a glutton for punishment sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, so Kate.
Yeah, I don't even know if Katie said we were cheated by the math. KJ was like, this is the definition of insanity right now. Everybody's like trying to stay hopeful, but very stressed. Big momentum shifts when subs come in, which is really good, but so much unfortunate circumstance. And Ruby, who has been on the pod, said it's the WTF feeling, which Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of Freya era flashbacks happening for people right now, and it's really stressful.
I feel like Angel City, more than other teams, goes on very big like runs, like a run of losses, a run of wins. Yeah. And I don't know why.
Neither do we.
Well, last year there was a reason. Last year there was definite reason. You know.
We just got to get that second half of the season energy back.
Yeah. There's I think it. I mean, they've alluded to it. They've talked about like they're definitely trying new things. They're looking at new strategies and stuff like that. And it's not something that's going to click overnight. And so it's
because the stuff that's working is working, but the stuff that isn't really isn't. And it's happening at a detriment right now.
Yeah, when we looked at the like stats or at the like game, and you know, it's not like we're losing like crazy. It's just been a run of bad luck and bad errors. But beyond that, like the team is pretty solid, you know, like we're like there's still things to work on, which just means, you know, it means that when we check out the standings and we see just like last year, we are dead last.
Yeah, but it's the third week of the season.
It's like the third week of the season. There's nowhere to go but up. We're not even a
full month in.
There's nowhere to go but up. So
that's right.
You know, it's a long stint. We've had a long stint on the road. We still have one more game on the road. So it's just been a long time away from home, especially because I didn't get to go to the first game this year. So technically my season hasn't started. So I'm just going to say that in general, my season hasn't started because I didn't get to go to BMO.
Yeah. Oh, it's your fault. But you got to get there.
Yeah, I haven't been there.
Change the luck.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to fly to Chicago.
Tomorrow. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
I'll see you in a couple days.
Okay, and then the other thing too, right, is that it's something that is always brought up, and it's very real about American soccer is America's huge. So all 3 of these matches have been East Coast matches. Mm-hmm. So like they fly back to LA, they train here, then they fly back out to where they're playing. So like. Travel, like I'm not saying those are the excuses, but those are factors. Okay, I'm gonna say factors.
Travel does a lot to your body.
It does.
Also, dehydration, cramping, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So we definitely need these 3 points. And we're sorry, but we are definitely rooting for Chicago to go down on this one. We'll talk about what the strategy is here, but the silver lining is that 6th place all the way down to us, there's actually only a 2-point spread. It's because we're also very early in the season, right?
Yeah.
So it's bad, but it's not that bad. Okay. Now let's move on.
Meat and potatoes time. This is like my favorite part of our show. So, and this is where I'm gonna ask you to like give me some good, juicy Chicago stuff.
Okay. I'll do what I can.
So overall, like, who the heck do the Chicago Red Stars think they are in the best way? Like, you end up last season, like, bottom of the barrel. Like, Lauren comes in. We mentioned this earlier in the season. We were doing, like, season preview. Like, Lauren Davidson, new coach, who this? Like, this team, night and day difference. Which is super cool. I hate it just because we're not, but I'm very excited. Like, the team was sold. There's new ownership. There's like, it feels like a lifeline was given to the Red Stars in the very, very best way. And I think, like, same thing with Portland being sold. Like, the transition of like the bad part is really shining. Like, the transition out of that is like what Chicago is doing right. It's a glow up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like morale last year was the lowest I've seen it. And I think, Chicago is an OG club. Like, they've been around from the jump. And they've been good from the jump. Like, I think last year was the first year that they didn't make the playoffs. Like, they've been consistently good. And so I think that is like a really big hit. And you have it around, you hit the nail on the head. It was an ownership issue where they weren't bringing in new talent when everybody else was signing international players. Like, really wasn't happening. Players were looking to jump ship. And the biggest thing that happened was like keeping Mal. And thank God Dansby Swanson wanted to play for the Cubs, right?
Honestly, because if they hadn't been together or they didn't get married, Mal's not in Chicago.
Mal's
where the paycheck is, honestly.
As she should be. As she should be. Yeah. Like, it is good luck of Chicago that that's how it shook out, and that she's there for the foreseeable future. And I think this is a team. I was getting hopeful in the off season. Well, I was really scared, but then I got hopeful because I think Coach Lauren is the greatest gift of the off season. Like,
absolutely.
Not only is he a tactical genius, a player development genius, he is a player's coach. And I think anytime you have a coach that is like, this is, I don't know if it's rumor, I don't know if it's speculation, but like there were issues with the Jamaican Federation.
Oh, that's real.
Is that real? Okay. Yeah. So in what I've gathered is Coach Lauren was very much on the side of the players and like them getting paid. And like that is the stuff
you to the federation.
Like, as you're bringing somebody into an organization that you can't, that is like a trifecta you cannot beat. A player's coach, a technical genius, a player development genius. Like,
And if your
Chicago
coach is
so
going to go to
lucky.
bat for your players in that way, like on the international level, of course you're going to do that for club. Like, to stick up for the women, like for the reggae girls, to be like, no, this is uncalled for. Like, they need to get paid. They need to have better timelines. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
We're not doing, like, you're not fining them. You're not penalizing them for giving them a bad situation to start with. Like, thank you, sir. Thank you for being a gift. Like, one of the few men who is coaching right now that's actually like supporting their players and supporting the organization in a way that allows the players to be safe and comfortable and succeed. Like, we've talked about it a bunch on here. I will scream about the Jamaican team because they're so good and they're so mistreated. And it's like, I'm so grateful Chicago has Lauren, but at the same time, I'm like, but like, oh no, like what's going to happen to the Jamaican girls? Yeah.
What could have been?
And I hope their federation gets their stuff together, because like, they're so good. Every player out of that team is so good.
Yeah, it's such a like squandering of talent.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you have Bunny Shaw saying like she won't go back.
Yeah.
Like, how
Bunny
dare you?
Shaw.
Like, what?
Yes.
You have Bunny Shaw on your team and you're not bending over backwards to do what she wants?
Yeah.
Gosh.
Exactly. She's like, I'm just asking for my paycheck that you agreed to.
Yeah. That
like,
you're
not
owed.
even a lot.
I'm owed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The players aren't even asking for a lot. And a lot of them are like collegiate players that are playing here in the States. They don't have the money to fly back like with 2 days notice.
Yeah.
I don't have the money. I'm just a regular, like, I have a job, like, and I can't even fly cross country overnight unless it's like, okay, well, gonna put that one on a credit card and think about it later. You know what I mean? Like,
kayak can only do so much.
Flight. Yeah. Kayak, Skyscanner, all the things. But yeah, I'm so happy for the turnaround of Chicago, because like you said, like, they're a stalwart in the league. They're one of the original teams. I follow Sarah Spain on, I think, every social media platform. And she was in the old ownership group. And with the sale, had to, like, leave the team. And even she was like, this is for the best. I'm so happy for them. All I want them to do is succeed. And now she's, like, pumping them up every game. And I'm like, that's who got taken advantage of in the old system, or were the people like that and the investors like that. And it's just, man.
I think we are seeing the glow up era of the Chicago Red Stars, or the rebuild. I don't know what you want to call it, but even better with Laura Ricketts is their new owner, and she partially owns the Cubs as well. So she definitely knows what she's doing. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just they're a good combination of just pure talent, but also like they're a little gritty.
Yeah.
And
that's Chicago, though.
That's Chicago.
That's Chicago. Yeah.
And I think if they've started really well. If they keep going the way they're going, and knock on wood, we're injury free, we're looking at a pretty good season.
Yeah, you are. Because right now you're sitting in second place, right behind Kansas City, who's like goal scoring machine, which, I hope they celebrate this weekend whenever they score. Because I have big feelings about that, which we clipped. Yeah. I think most people have big feelings about it.
Huge feelings about it.
Let them cook, let them play. So when it comes to the Red Stars, I picked 3 players to kind of talk about who our fans need to pay attention to, because that's who's going to be causing a problem. Feel free to add more people if you want. It is late. I feel so bad for keeping you so late, and I'm just like, I could talk to you forever, but you are a champ. So I want to kick this off by talking about someone we mentioned earlier, and that's the brick wall, Alyssa Naeher. America's keeper, Chicago's keeper, just forever in goal, Alyssa Naeher. Like, I've talked about her on the World Cup episodes. I talked about her last season. I will never not talk about Alyssa Naeher.
Yeah, I think she's such on the field, such a solid like captain, even though she's not the captain, but like as far as steering the ship, on the field, she's directing what's going on. I think she has done enough to have complete trust, and her defenders are going to trust and listen to what she says. But I think for Chicago, there's like stories about her like building furniture in people's apartments when like the owner was too cheap to like do stuff. Like Alyssa Naeher shows up at your apartment and like fixes stuff. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Or like fixing a flat tire, getting your car picked up, like taking it to the right mechanic. Like Alyssa Naeher is, as her nickname, which she hates apparently, but I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. She's Uncle Alyssa, because she's that person for all of these teammates, even on the national team. Like, this is just who she is. She's like stable and stoic, and she shows up. And it's true, because that's exactly how she is in goal. Like, she's just consistent.
Yeah, I think that is the funniest nickname, and I'm like Uncle. And
Uncle.
It definitely describes who she is. Like she shows up for people, and that is such a high compliment. I hope somebody would say that about me someday. Like, she's reliable. I think she's one of those players that, you know, they always talk about her being the first person there and like the last person to leave. And I think when you have that work rate, she's not young. I don't know how old she is, but she's, you know, mid-30s.
Veteran.
She's a veteran. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. She's a veteran. She's seasoned. Yes. And I feel like you can tell, not from, you know, just because she knows what she's doing, and it just exudes out of her.
Yeah.
It's the soccer IQ. It's the knowledge of honestly, the knowledge that you can't get without actually playing, like actually being on the field, being present and basically seeing things, right? And like learning from them. Like it's that soccer IQ that you want to keep, that you desperately look for. That's why, like, you know, you can't necessarily build a whole team of rookies and newcomers, or like they might be seasoned like college players, but it's completely different. The
pros are different.
Yeah,
the pros are different.
So, and
like Alyssa Naeher, I feel like in her brain is like a radar tracker, like you would see on like a submarine or something like that, and she's just tracking the ball. She like has a heat map of players, and then it's like the ball is a different color. That's what I feel like happens for goalies, because they're so focused on one thing. But that's
so funny.
That's what
can you imagine if her head is just sense.
Like it's just like beep 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 beep, you know, and then she blocks it. But it's like she's so serious, and she's probably having like either the time of her life, or she's singing a song. Like, there's probably something really funny going on in her head, like a little self-conversation, but she doesn't give off that vibe. She gives off like, this is who I am and what I do, and like I'm the only person to do this.
You know what we need to do? Have you seen like those videos of like the like pee-wee hockey players where like they mic up the goalie, and he's just, and like they're just kind of like,
and they're
chatting
singing
to themselves,
like,
or like, because they're like wasting time. I think we need to mic up goalies and like kind of hear them, what they're like kind of just chatting to themselves the whole game, or how they're yelling at the defense.
I think it's so funny. So Alyssa Naeher, is her friend group, like on the national team, I think are all very big personalities.
Yeah.
Like Megan repeated, they're boisterous people. And then you have Alyssa Naeher, which is very contrasted. That is what I want to mic up. I want to know what goes on in those conversations.
Yes. I like just I mean, Alyssa Naeher probably says 4 words, and they're probably the funniest. Like, she's that like quiet sniper that just sits there and waits, and then just roasts somebody so hard in a sentence, and then doesn't say anything for another 2 hours. And I love it. I love it.
I could see it.
So Alyssa Naeher, she is the keeper of all keepers. She wears number 1. You'll see her in goal. That's where you're gonna see her, no matter what. She comes at a goal. I don't know what happened. Something bad happened. Like, to get her off her line is a feat in itself. But yeah, keep an eye out for Alyssa Naeher. If you haven't been paying attention already, like, get with it.
Yes.
Yeah. And then next up, I picked from the entire roster Schlegel, because I feel like she is highly underrated. And I feel like she was a steal from Houston, who decided not to re-sign her, his whole thing. Because when that trade happened, I was very confused, because I figured she would just stay in Houston because she was doing great. And it's just like, midfielders are either highly controversial because they're so great or so bad, or they just fly under the radar and nobody really knows until they're gone. Emily Manguez, for example, in Portland.
Yeah, big problems. Yeah. Shea Groom is dealing with, I don't know what type of injury. She is dealing with some type of injury, so we haven't seen her yet. But I do think she is one of those midfielders that is like merciless.
Yes.
Like yellow card queen will take you out. And I think you need an enforcer, like a Julie Ertz enforcer in the midfield sometimes.
Yes.
And
you need somebody who's going to body other players.
Yeah. Like Rocky's got that a little bit. You've got Emily Sonnet's definitely got that. Like there are some players that's just like their MO, and Shea Groom is one of those players, and I think that kind of plays into the rough and tumble Chicago style that's coming.
See, and this is why we needed you here, because there's been plenty of times that we've like highlighted players and then watched the game and we're like, oh wait, they're not playing.
The availability reports are never released when we're like getting ready to record.
Yeah.
Or like they take them down week to week. So I'm like, we need to track this. Like there's some of us who report on these things.
There is like, so the Red Stars got some huge names in the off season. She is one of them. Like Natalie Kuika is the other one, and I would say Staub are the three.
I literally like flipped a coin to focus on Sam or Shea. Yeah. I was like, I don't know who to pick. Yeah.
I think that's, Mario, what you were talking about, that like soccer IQ, like those three hold so much soccer IQ that they were just great picks for Chicago. And
Chicago, like they really, really put in work this offseason. And it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, your face right now is like, that's my team.
I know. Gosh. That was one. Like, my hopes are so high for Cleveland soccer.
Yeah.
My hopes were so low for Chicago. I was like, it's going to be bad. But it hasn't been.
Yeah. And even in our preseason stuff, I was like, Chicago's rebuilding. I don't know. They could come out of the gate and be the best team in the league and run the table the whole season, or not. And I was right. At least so far. But one of the cool things.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to tell you guys my favorite player on the team.
Oh, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right. So I love Allie Schlegel, who has been starting a lot this year. She's a forward. And she was a player that Lauren actually developed in Colorado. So she's played for him before. And she got the first opening goal. And she's just like such a hustle, Trinity Rodman-esque player that will track
That was
back.
a banger of a goal.
Beautiful.
That first one, beautiful.
Yeah. And she's another one that, this is her second year in the league, that I would be looking in the next 2 to 3 years. I think she'll make a name for herself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She's showing up for sure. For sure. You guys are just having a great season so far. Highly jealous, but we'll get there.
You'll get there. You'll get there. I believe in Angel City.
And then last but not least, really quick, Shea Groom. She's in the midfield. She wears number 10. But like Em said, she's got a little knock. We may or may not see her this week. Who knows?
Hopefully soon.
It could surprise us.
Allie is forward and is number 34. So
she wears a giant pink headband. Like
she does.
It's like 4 inches thick around her head. She's worn it for years. It's not going anywhere.
So look for the big pink headband.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then last but not least, the one and only Mal Swanson, who it is an Olympic year. So I will be spotlighting more of the national team players because people need to pay attention come Olympic time. She's coming back from a basic knee explosion. That's the nice way to say it. I don't want to go into too many details for the squeamish folks, but it was bad. Like real bad. But to have her back on the pitch, not just for the Red Stars, but like for the game itself, is so, so huge, especially in a year where we lose Sam Mewis to like medical retirement. Having Mal back is so, so good. Her, again, soccer IQ through the roof, exciting player to watch. Like, she's one of those people that when they're on the pitch, you cannot take your eyes off them because she's so crafty and so prolific in how she plays. She's just so ridiculously good. And I mean, we talked about Dansby earlier. I will say, I wish she kept her maiden name because the pew 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 calls were just so good. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, Mal Swanson.
Yes, like so happy for you.
Yeah.
So happy for you. But also, did you have to?
Yeah. Think about the fans. Think about the rest of us.
Think about us. Gosh.
You could have kept it professionally, you know? Like, just like the professional, like the stage name, basically. You leave that one.
Exactly. Yeah. I joke with Eva that like, and same for her as a musician, we're both like, no, we'll either hyphenate or just not take each other's names. Cause like I did the work under this name. I'm keeping that. Like, this is how I'm known. This is like, I did this, which no offense, that's for everybody's choice and whatnot. But like, if I were still competing and then I get married, no, like that, I created this monster on my own. Or not on my own, but like I put the work in for this one.
I am kind of surprised that the majority of soccer players do change their names.
Same.
A lot. Like
JJ, like Julie Ertz.
Mm-hmm. Kingsbury or Bledsoe to Kingsbury and
yeah.
Just a lot of
them. It's like it's one of those where I'm like, who is this? Oh, Korniak. I'm like, who's Taylor Flint?
Who's Flint?
Who is that?
She's obscenely tall. Like, where'd she come from? Yeah.
She looks a lot like Taylor Korniak. That's weird. Like, no joke. When that trade was announced, I was just like, who? And then I looked and I was like, oh, shoot. That's a big time.
It was almost like she was in witness protection because not only was she not with the Wave anymore, she had a whole different
name.
Like, gosh.
Yeah, and everybody, there's another player, Madrill? Is that who it is? There's another player that nobody knows who she is. And it's like, oh, right. But I can't think of who it is. Anyway, it's funny.
There was a defender for the Dash also. Naughton to Lind. Katie Naughton changed her name. Got married and changed her name too.
Yeah. Katie Lund?
Is it Katie Lund now?
I think so.
Oh, I don't know. Lots of them. It's very confusing. They need a tally.
Yeah. It's like, can you just hyphenate? Or just give us like a transition period.
A transition hyphenation period of a year.
Yeah.
And then we can change. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad we agree. We'll call the FO. Yeah.
Make your kit more expensive for 1 year. And then.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to pay extra for the transitional last name kit because it takes up the entire back.
Mm-hmm. We'll call it the nuptials kit. And it'll be like special branding.
There you go.
Yeah. That'd be so good. I love that. So Mal Swanson. See, there's even who is it? I think it's Sandra. No, not Sandra. I know it's Thrace. Again, on Twitter. I don't know.
Yeah.
But she'll tweet like, oh, Mal Pugh, and then it's like underneath it, I mean Swanson. Like, oh, sorry. But it's so ingrained. But Mal Swanson, number 9, is going to be coming in hot to whoever we have in goal. If it's Dee Dee, if it's Angelina, who knows at this point? We'll see come this weekend. But Angel City, I did my best not to focus completely on our defense again because I just love them all so much. I'm big on defense. Same for basketball. I love good defense because defense wins games. I'm just saying.
It does.
It does.
Yeah.
So, and with that, Sarah Gorden, queen of center backs right now. I don't have much to say about Sarah except, oh my God, she's so good. And I feel like everyone in the WOSO world is like, hold on, justice for Sarah. Why hasn't she gotten a call up? Where has this been? Even I've talked about it and it's like maybe the year she got hurt was her year to get called up. But I'm like, no, we have new coaches. We have new everything. why isn't Sarah getting called up to camps? Maybe it's because she has a kid and she's declined it. I don't know. But I need an answer.
Yeah. I think that's one of
I need an answer.
Soccer's greatest mysteries is she's such a, iron woman, such a, the way she defends is phenomenal, and she shuts people down. And I think she's the only person that could hang with Temwa Chwenga.
Oh, yeah. Chwenga, Assasat, like, she has effectively shut them down. And yeah, it's one of those are players that are like, they're going to score. No matter how good your defense is, how good your keepers are, they're going to score at some point. You just hope it's not against your team.
Yeah.
But it was against us both times.
Yeah.
But to shut down and frustrate Assasat so much she gets carded.
Yeah.
And like should have probably gotten carded a second time and sent off, but that's another like chaos award was the cards of the first weekend. Like 20 cards were given across the board. But yeah, Sarah Gorden, just, man, she's so great. And she's so cool.
Effortlessly cool.
Effortlessly cool. Yeah. Like there's no way I'll be as cool as Sarah Gorden, literally ever. She has such a fantastic story too, coming from Chicago. Like being from Chicago, playing in Chicago, working her way up to becoming a starter, being essentially like a like she got drafted, but like a walk-on who had to fight for her time, someone who had a kid in college and still came back to play. And just, Sarah, and to be a two-sport athlete in college is difficult. To be a two-sport athlete in high school is hard. College is almost impossible because they like effectively don't let you. And she's a track and field star and a soccer star. Has a kid middle of college, comes back, rules the world, basically. Works her way up to a starter position for the Red Stars. Decides to leave Chicago, comes to LA, immediately gets injured 2 days after she met Eva, which I don't hold it against her, but I'm just saying, what is that?
Yeah.
They met at like our favorite little coffee place that's now closed, which is the worst thing to have happened in like the last year. But she texted me and was like, I think Sarah Gorden is here. And I was like, go say hi. She, like, the first Angel City kit she bought was a Sarah Gorden kit. Like, we love Sarah Gorden in this house. And I mean, defense itself we love, but Paige and Sarah, MA, and Captain Allie Riley, like that's my back line forever and ever. And like Sarah is just so kind and so gracious and just needs more attention. Like she needs to be recognized for all of the things she does. Because she's co-captain now. She's such the veteran that you want on your team. And I can't say enough good things about her.
Deserved.
That's Sarah Gorden.
Deserved. Yeah.
Yeah. So defender, like I said, on our back line, number 11, it's like the Ohio State, but like the Sarah Gorden.
Yes.
Yeah. It's capitalized. And now to Meggie Dougherty Howard, who we picked up from San Diego in the midfield. There's a lot of talk after Savannah McCaskill went to San Diego and Danny Weatherholt was announced to be going to North Carolina. Like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Like, our midfield was already kind of Swiss cheesy. Now it's just a circle. Like, there's all this chaos. And this was such a pickup that I don't think people realized was going to be as impactful as it is already, because she has experience. She's a veteran. She comes in. I mean, San Diego is a hell of a team from the jump, and just swoop someone who was part of that was super important. And she's already locking it down for us. She's played amazing the last couple games and just is playing really well with Kennedy Fuller. And it's really fun to see because she's also an offensive playmaker. So she can get the ball to the final third and really push our offense when needed. Like she can dispossess the other team and just really keep things going, which is really fun. And she's kind of like under the radar in that sense. Like she got announced and like a week later Rocky was announced, and that really blew things out of the water.
She's been in the
Rocky's just different.
Meggie's been in the league for a minute, right?
Yeah.
She's been in for a minute. I think it's probably good for a player like Kennedy Fuller to be with that pairing of like Rocky, who's been in, you know, her own, been a starter for forever, and then Meggie too.
Yeah.
And you know,
and even like Amandine Henry coming from like international, like to have Rocky and Mandy as like the people you look up to, and Meggie too, but like those are international superstars. Yeah.
And then you're just 16 how old is she? 16?
17. She turned 17 like a month ago.
She's just a baby.
She turned 17 like 2 days after her signing.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like she looks young out there, but she doesn't play young. She definitely takes up space. She uses her body well. But she probably learns a lot from that crew.
Oh, absolutely. She's tough. As like I was very mentally strong as an athlete at 17, but not like that. She's very much like played soccer in a past life, has this otherworldly experience, I think. But yeah, Kennedy Fuller, what a champ. But Meggie is number 7 in the midfield. She has 1 bun. Kennedy Fuller has 2. So like that's how you can tell them apart, because they look very similar from far away. And one's number 7, one's 17. It's easy to mix up. Although Kennedy kind of looks like Jojo Siwa from far away.
Yeah.
You could,
Kennedy got knocked into during the first game, and Eva was like, "You can't hit her like that. She can't even vote. Like, you can't. She is a child.
She's a minor.
Yeah. She's a minor. Definitely.
Yeah.
Just to think about what we were doing back at 17, it's just like, holy moly.
I'm just grateful the internet wasn't what it is now for me then. I got to have a lot more fun quietly.
You get to grow up.
Do anything that bad. We got to grow up and just
It's because it took too long to get onto the internet. Like, the dial-up.
It took
to dial up.
All right, and then our bike shop owner, bike shop extraordinaire, Sid LeRoux. Mario mentioned it on an Instagram post the other day, but we do have a Sid LeRoux Angel City Bike Shop bicycle kicks for everybody t-shirt. So if you need one, pick one up. But I really think her revenge tour is still going, because she's playing a full 90. It feels like she Benjamin Buttoned a couple of years to be like pre-injury Sid. Even like how she was playing after Cassius or after Rue, like that post-pregnancy, like I will take over the world. I am like the ultimate person. That's how Sid feels. Sid feels like 2019 Sid. World Cup Sid.
She is the ultimate competitor. I feel like I would take her over mainly any other player as far as like competitive spirit.
Absolutely.
Like you can see in her eyes. I think it was this last game in Kansas City when she score?
When she got knocked. No, she.
Oh my
God. She scored, but then she got knocked and like got back up.
Yeah.
If Lola Bonta had not stepped in front of whoever that player was, Ellie Wheeler, I think that's who it was.
That's their like 17-year-old too. Sid was ready to send her back home.
You could see Lola was like, chill, breathe.
Yeah.
Like
this would be assault on a minor. Like you gotta chill.
Yeah. Sydney was definitely like thinking about like, okay, I have kids, I can't go out like this.
Exactly.
But
I think she
right?
even commented that. She even commented that like in a like someone asked like oh like what like she looked like she was about to like wreck someone or whatever, and she's like oh, it's because I kept my cool because I have my kids. My kids are watching or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, her look when they're down and she scores and she grabs the ball out of the net and is like chucking to start, like she's trucking, like ready to start. Don't get in her way.
Nope.
No.
And it's always like she has the ball in her hand. The camera always catches her when she's looking at someone going, let's effing go. Yes! And she'll say it like 3 times as she's just charging towards the midfield, like, we go again. And like, yeah. Yeah.
I would want her on my
team. I love
team.
Sid.
Yeah.
100%.
So
yeah.
I do like the switching up of like, and we started to get it a little bit, but like the switching up with like Sydney and then having Messiah come in, you know, like basically as a super sub. And then I'd love to see like Messiah being there with Sydney coming in as a super sub, because again, we keep talking about soccer IQ, and then having Sydney come in late in the game, fresh legs.
Yeah.
And that soccer IQ. Like with Messiah, we got fresh legs and we've got like grit, and like she's just going to go full bore. But then, you know, it's a different sub when you put in Sydney as a super sub, and then fresh legs.
I also want to see them together though. Like give me Sid in the middle, Messiah on the outside, and like Claire on the other wing. Like give me that. I just want to see what happens. Because I feel like that would terrorize some teams.
I'll set up that text to Tweed. And
yeah, I don't. You have 2 really good players right there, Messiah Bright and Sydney LeRoux. But I do think she is. If you sub in Sydney LeRoux, you're doing okay. Like that is an amazing sub to put in.
Yeah.
What is it? Champagne problems? Like,
right.
Yeah. Yeah, when you've got starters coming off the bench just as like their rotation, it's like, oh, okay, we're all right.
That's like subbing in Marta. Like, oh, right. Now Marta comes on. Okay.
Oh, great. Like, I wonder if she'll be great this game or just like good. Like, what? Yeah, Marta's just cool. Yeah. I mean, we did frustrate the bejesus out of her in Orlando a couple weeks ago, which I don't think I've seen her lose her cool like that in a long time. I appreciate it.
The last, Chicago just played them, and it was kind of similar, where she was very animated, very like competitive and intense, and I liked it. Like I loved intense. Like I feel like Alyssa Thompson has been more intense, more vocal than she has been, and I love these players that are just kind of like letting it go and like wanting to win.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Mario?
I was gonna say Marta. It seems like there's a little bit of a slack on Orlando, where like Marta has to like she's filling in like 2 to 3 like positions at once, like but she's also that good.
Yeah.
That she can be 2 to 3 different positions in a game and be like, and what?
There's definitely like a communication situation happening on Orlando right now, because she's more frustrated, I think, at her own team than the defense of the opposing team right now. Because it feels like, at least in the game against us, that she was like so frustrated with the younger players on her team, which I get it.
So far.
Yeah.
She was essentially every time the team went defensive, like she was basically the 5th defender back there. Like she dropped all the way back and then sprinted all the way to the front whenever the momentum changed. So like there's some frustration stuff going on there.
Can you imagine Marta yelling at you? Like you join a team and Marta's like scolding you and you're like, oh my gosh.
Do I quit or do I come back tomorrow? Like, what do I do?
I think it's one of those things too, where like if a player starts yelling at you, it's like when I get yelled at by my mom and like she reverts back to like Spanish. Like I'm no longer being yelled at in English. It's like now in Spanish. I'm like, oh, it's a whole different language now. Okay. Like just her yelling at you in Portuguese. You don't even know why you're being yelled at. You're like, what are you
no. Yeah, or I'm not mad, I'm disappointed.
That's the worst. Oh, yeah. Why'd you have to go there?
Yeah.
Flashbacks for all 3 of us. Real happened in real time just now. Alrighty. So between the 2 teams, between Chicago and Angel City has won 1. We have tied 1, so we have dropped 2. I think the first 2, the losses happened Oh no, the last happened. The last game of the first season. I will not forget that because that's what took us out of the playoffs. But it is what it is. Clean slate this season. We'll see what happens this weekend.
We can only go
Yeah.
up.
Exactly. We can only go up. And if Portland keeps doing what they're doing, that's what's going to happen. As long as we don't keep doing the same.
Yes. There was a video I did
Absolutely.
last year when Chicago was hanging out in 12th, and I was like trying to think of all the good things that were 12th. And I was like, it was hard. It was hard. Like, you can't find many, but it will get better.
Yeah. It's the beginning of the season. We've done it before. We can do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. Well, that has been our episode. Thank you for chugging through this whole thing, Em. You're a way
champ.
past your bad time.
Oh, this is so fun for me. Like, thank you so much for allowing me to come on and like get to know you guys. I'm so thankful.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Like I kid you not, when we when we shot our shot and said like, hey, let's reach out to this, the thing is that we've been on a high where we've been shooting our shot and it's been working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like there's other things that we've also been like, there's been things where I just kind of went to Angela and be like, so I messaged this person and she's like, why? But then it turns out that
It works out.
It works out. So it's just like, or, keep to our Instagram because we're going to be posting up about it. But like, we're doing this out of fun, but like also, we're not looking to make money off of this right now or at all. We're not like, that's not the reason why we're doing this, but we've also had fun just being like reaching out to people and being like, hey, we like what you do. Can we help promote
It's the
you
community.
and be like, so we're about to have like a fun giveaway this month. And so, yeah, keep an eye on our Instagram and keep that going. But like, we shot our shot and they said, yeah, we'd love to help. And then kind of partnered up with something.
Good things keep happening.
Yeah. Yeah. So, keep an eye out on all that. And thank you so much for coming. Again, reminder of where to watch and listen. Next match is going to be Saturday, April 13th. We're going to be at the Red Stars. SeatGeek Stadium in Bridgeview, Illinois at 6:30 p.m. for a LA start time. If you're going out to Chicago or if you're a fan in Chicago that's going to go to the game, let us know. It'd be fun to hear who, like, it's been fun because we also got, for the Kansas City match, we had a friend that was at the match. They were tailgating with the Kansas City supporters groups, and someone mentioned to them that they listened to our pod before the game, and we're like, what? Like a Kansas City fan that listened to that's amazing.
Yeah. That's so cool.
And it wasn't just the Kansas City episode. Like, no, like I listen every week, and I was like, what? People do that? Like, it's one of those where it still feels so special when we get people who know the podcast, listen to us, follow us on Instagram, whatever it is. Yeah. So thanks everybody.
So the game will be streaming on Ion TV or streaming on TV. Check your local listings, check our Instagram. It'll be there. It's easy, but not that easy to find. Like, it'll also be on iHeartRadio. So if you can't watch the game, listen to Isaac and Tracy on iHeart. Download the app. There's a big giant Angel City button to just listen to the game.
Yep. Just type in Angel City and you basically go to the station that has the games live and then replays them over and over and over again.
Whenever I actually get the chance and the kids aren't hogging the TV, I will sync up iHeart and the TV broadcast. So listen to the radio broadcast. It's just a little more exciting. There is an official watch party from Angel City, which will start at 5:30. The kickoff is at 6:30. It's going to be at Tom's Watch Bar in downtown LA, across from the Staples Center at LA Live. Don't make me say the other name. And we will also be reposting any of the SG watch parties all over LA. Usually there's one in the OC somewhere. There's one somewhere in the like kind of East LA or like
East
San Gabriel
side.
Valley area.
Yeah.
Yeah. So keep an eye for all of those. So thank you, Em, for coming. You can follow the amazing, talented, hilarious Em Woods on TikTok.
We're just gonna gas you up.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what we do.
That's so kind.
And there's a reason why we also don't do this on video too, because like just a bunch of times where we're just like,
yeah.
on TikTok,
Or I'm crying. One of the two.
Yeah.
M Woods Casual. So that's EMWOODSCASUAL. Check her own podcast out with Allie, her partner. It's called Across the Pond NWSL. You can search for it on all those places, or you can actually go to our website that we have a section on our website. It's called the Support WOSO Pods portion of our site. We've been keeping track of WOSO pods that we just kind of learn about, and there's a whole database there.
You can buy a shirt.
And you can buy a shirt. You can buy a shirt that says Support WOSO Pods.
Oh, I love
Wait,
that.
no. It says Support Women's Soccer Podcasts.
Yeah.
Nice.
Doesn't have our branding on it. And it has
And there's a little QR code.
There's a QR code. So if anybody runs into you, you can tell them, scan that little QR code and find yourself a podcast. If you want to check that out, go to casualfc.com/support-woso-pod. Or just go to casualfc.com. You'll see the item in the menu right there.
Definitely. And if you like what you heard today on this fantastic episode, make sure you hit subscribe wherever you're listening. Check out casualfc.com for all the podcast links to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, a whole bunch of other places I don't know because there's a lot. And if you're looking to support the podcast, please like this, share this, leave a review wherever you're listening, comment on a post or an episode, whatever. The more engagement, the better. It's free. Takes about 4 seconds depending on what platform you're on. So it's super easy, super fun. If you want to grab some merch like the bicycle shirt, the WOSO shirt, or the WOSO podcast shirt, I don't know, whatever else we come up with, because we're working on stuff now. We've said that for a few weeks, but it's hard.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's hard and it's complicated. You can go to shop.casualfc.com. Like I said, a bunch of silly ideas coming. We're working on stuff now. So hopefully we can get something out in the next couple weeks, because there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And we've got some great players that we want to spotlight. And then last but not least, if you feel so inclined and you want to monetarily support the pod, you can buy us a coffee by checking out our link in all of our socials, or you can go to buymeacoffee.com/casualfcpod. Thank you to all of those who have actually done this. We've gone to lunch together with the donations towards the pod a couple times, and it's been really fun.
We should be putting it towards the pod, but I mean, lunch is nice too.
But those
Everybody's
are
gotta
planning
eat.
meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are planning meetings. We just have to eat at the same time.
Yeah.
That's all. So thank you. And you can follow us on social media at CasualFCPod on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok. But realistically, we only really update Instagram, and I'm over there tweeting about everything under the sun on my personal account. So I forget our Twitter actually exists. So we're on the internet. You can find us. And then we need all the good luck we can get because of Mel Swanson and Alyssa Naeher and everybody else on Chicago this week. So make sure you tell a friend about the podcast. It brings Angel City good luck. Sorry, but I gotta. We joke that we bank good luck wishes here, send them to the team as they fly out of town. So yeah, we need all the luck we can get right now.
Yeah. It'll be a good match regardless.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you again for staying up late and hanging out with us. We appreciate your time, and I cannot wait to talk to you about all things WOSO this summer and WNBA and all the things.
Yes.
It's going to be a fantastic summer of women's sports and the Olympics. There's so much to talk about.
There's so much.
There's so much to talk about.
Is there...
But thank you again. Thank you for listening. We'll see you this week at the game.
Bye.
Yep. Bye.